What is up, my fellow weirdo fam, and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Tawny Michelle. I am not all love, light, unicorns, and twin flames. I am not that type of spiritual bitch, so you ain't gonna find that here. Anyways, in today's video, we are gonna be talking about how to stay #wokeAF in this time of basically being quarantined and having to stay inside a little bit more often and not being able to be around people as much as usual. So we're gonna talk about it. I'm gonna go over basically all the things that I've personally been doing. Yeah, I don't know. So let's go ahead and get into it. This shit sucks, you know what I mean? No one really, I think, wants this to be happening, right? But during times like these, we truly find out who we really are deep down. We truly see who we really are deep down, and we are able to get away from the distractions of the 3D world for a little bit, take a break from the distractions of life as it was, right? It probably won't ever be the same again, to be quite honest with you, because even if the world somehow miraculously does go back to being just the way it was, I don't think we'll ever be the same again, and that really happens with any kind of crisis or a pandemic. So the first thing I want you to do is imagine a protective bubble of light, love and light around yourself, and anytime anything negative or anyone negative tries to penetrate your love and light bubble, I want you to basically just act like you're grabbing it with your hand and just flick it away. Y'all know that was a joke, right? I'm just kidding. Fuck that. I would never tell you to do that. That is not beneficial by any means. Not to say that you shouldn't kick some negative ass bitches out of your life from time to time, but I am not your girl that tells you to just act like you're flicking them away and boom, problem solved. No, not me. I heard someone say that one time and I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Anyways, the first thing that I have came up with, which is pretty obvious, is to work on yourself. And one of the main questions I really think that, well, what I've been really asking myself, and I think is a really amazing time for us all to be asking ourselves, especially with it being Aries season and all, and a new astrological year, and just everything else that, you know, we were doing in our normal day-to-day lives being stripped away in some form or another, is to be asking yourself, who am I? Who are you? Start figuring out who you are. Start figuring out what you love. Start asking yourself, is this something I love? If not, why am I doing it? Is this someone I love? If not, why are they in my life, you know? Because once you start going down that rabbit hole, you will find who you are in some form of another, and you will also find who you're really not, or maybe you were trying to act like somebody that you weren't, or maybe you were living a life that just wasn't making you happy and wasn't who you were. The second and other really important thing that I think everybody should be doing right now is reawakening your inner child. So what I mean by this is connecting to your childhood self, okay? Back when everything was fun and creative and imaginative, and you had this childlike wonder, and you looked at everything with a sense of imagination and creativity, and did things that you loved or that you enjoyed, or hobbies that you loved and that you enjoyed. So a way that you can do this is watching childhood movies and shows and just doing things that you did as a child. That's what I've been doing. And a reason that this is so important, I actually came up with by watching the first movie that I ever loved in my life, which was It Takes Two with the Olsen twins. I used to be compared to them when I was really young. I actually did look a lot like them when I was a child. They were like my everything. When I was watching It Takes Two, it occurred to me that Amanda, so one of the twins, you know, the twins switch places. Amanda, the more tomboy one, switched places with Alyssa, the more girly one, in order to try to drive Alyssa's new evil stepmother away. The reason this could work is because there was a level of detachment. I'm going to come back to this in a minute, but I thought it was very interesting. When Amanda goes to Alyssa's house and starts acting like Alyssa and living Alyssa's life, you know, because Amanda was normally an orphan, and she was able to go to Alyssa's nice house with her family, and because she didn't know them and that wasn't her life and there was a level of detachment there, she was able to do things that Alyssa couldn't because she was so attached to her life. And with everything going on in the quarantine right now, we are detaching from our normal lives. So we are going to start seeing, especially if we really put in the work, who we really are as people, and moving the fear, facing the fear. think of what you can do without all the fear of the normal everyday 3D life things that you had to do. Like, yeah, now you may have other fears. You know, this virus is unknown. We don't know how to cure it. We don't know when it's going to end. We don't know how long we're going to be quarantined, all of that. But you can turn that fear into an opportunity if you really wanted to, which we're going to come back to a little bit more. So anyways, back to your childhood self, really tapping into your imagination and creativity again, really getting creative, really allowing yourself to be in a sense of creativity, to be in a sense of imagination. You know, this is also going to help shift your mind, shift your consciousness as well. This is how you can basically enlighten the F up while you're in quarantine, so you at least get to know yourself more and get to heal and get to become more enlightened in the process and really shift your consciousness to a new level. Doing old hobbies or embracing old talents and skills that you had as a child. So for instance, like I've been painting, I've been, like I said, watching my childhood favorite movies, doing more things and being more goofy and allowing myself to laugh, allowing myself to feel and express myself more like I did when I was a child. Do more things that put you in a state of fun, of laughter, of wonder, of, you know, childlike curiosity or childlike mind. Play. Don't be scared to let yourself get loose. You know what I mean? Do things that put you in a state of awe and just find that childlike curiosity again. This is how you can connect to your childhood self. So the third thing is connecting your body and your spirit, okay? And there are so many different ways that you can do this, but I'm going to give you some of the ways that I've been personally doing this. So this is a time that is forcing us to basically sit still in our darkness, with our fears, with ourselves. It's really a great time to start asking yourself, what are you scared of? What are you so scared of? What are your fears right now and why? If you're feeling like stressed, especially, or having a lot of fear around, you know, the things that are happening in the world, then it's time to face those things. It's time to surrender and accept those things. And I know you hear that a lot, and I know it can be super annoying, but I truly do believe in acceptance and surrender, because especially when it's something that it's out of our control, we can only fight it so much, and we just end up making ourselves miserable in the process. But if you're like, okay, screw it, like, yeah, if it happens, it's gonna happen. What can you do about it? All you're doing is worrying yourself about it and driving yourself crazy. Nothing's going to change by you driving yourself crazy. You just mentally put yourself in an illusion that if I worry about this or if I stress about this, maybe it'll change. No, if it's out of your control, it's that way for a reason. Plus, you really kind of don't have a choice. You're going to end up having to accept it one way or another when it's out of your control in the first place. So I wanted to add here, because I feel like some people could take this the wrong way. This is just what works for me. It's not going to be a one size fits all. I know some of us have people that we're really worried for that this virus could potentially really harm or even kill. And so I just want to make that clear that some of these techniques that I do may not work for everybody. I'm not telling you to basically just surrender to someone dying, although there is a level of acceptance there in the long run that comes with time. But basically, you can still show love. And so that I just wanted to make that clear. This is not going to be a one size fits all. And I know some people have huge reasons to be worried. This is definitely scary, but I'm just going over some things that I personally have to do for myself. And now is really a time to reflect back on before the quarantine and the virus started happening and ask yourself, what distractions were there? You know, what was distracting you? Because now that those distractions are gone, you can really go into what you were running from and why you were maybe doing things in your everyday life that didn't align with who you really were. Now that life has been made more simpler, not saying easier, I'm saying more simple in a way, it's basically up to you. It's up to you whether you want to turn this time into an opportunity that is going to go towards your growth, towards your evolvement as a human, or fight against it and make things a hell of a lot more complicated and put yourself in just straight misery or depression or whatever the case may be, worrying yourself sick. The things that are out of your control will be that way no matter your reaction to it. Your power here is is within how you respond to this. You can choose to work with it and basically turn it into something that suits you and turn it into an opportunity, something beneficial, something with potential, or you can keep looking at it like it's the end of the world or basically life sucks. You could do so much with this time, literally, like so much that you couldn't do before. Any of you that are into any of this, which I'm guessing you are if you're watching this video, if you're into the occult, if you're into witchcraft, if you're into hermetics or just spirituality, then you know about alchemy. This is what alchemy is. It is taking something and turning it into something else. It's taking lead and turning it into gold. Well, guess what? You have lead. Either turn it into gold or keep fearing that it's lead and not gold. You have the power to do that. You have the power to take this situation and turn it into something that could actually be amazing for you. You can keep punching the brick wall, or you can learn how to use the brick wall in your favor to build a house or to climb over or to go around or however you want to use it. So another thing that is excellent to do during this time that you guys always hear me say to do is shadow work. Now, I know a lot of you guys ask me about shadow work. What is shadow work? Can you do a video on shadow work? So I'm going to explain a little bit of the basics of shadow work to you here. I don't do a full video on it, and I won't do a full video on it really, because I have a whole course where that's like the biggest thing of the course. It's all about spirituality and getting into spirituality and changing your perception. We did a whole few months on shadow work. You can now purchase my Soulology course, which is where we did the shadow work, on my website and get all of the sessions. So definitely go check that out if you're interested and you want a more step-by-step basis and different techniques and ways to do shadow work and to really get to the bottom of what shadow work is. But shadow work and healing is amazing, and you don't need my course necessarily. You've probably done shadow work already in your life, but maybe you did it unconsciously or you weren't conscious of it when you were doing it, okay? And also you can look up shadow work. I mean, I would really refer to anybody that really references Carl Jung or Carl Jung himself, books that he's done, all of that. That is where I learned. Carl Jung, it was a phenomenal psychiatrist and really is the one that coined the term shadow work. But basically it is when you face yourself. It is when you become more conscious of your behaviors, your reactions, your shadow self, so to say. And a great way to start with this is to look into your childhood, look back at your life and find the patterns in your life, okay? And as I always say, you guys know I'm a huge advocator for balance. That is a huge belief of mine. For one to be defined, the opposite must exist. So anything that you say that you are, anything that you think that you are, and anything that you think that you're not, okay? The opposite must exist. So if you think you are something, then you're also the opposite of that thing. If you think you're not something, then you likely are that thing, if that makes sense. So anybody that really bothers you or anything like that, there's a piece of you in them that you don't like about yourself. That's shadow work, and it's subconscious. That's why you don't realize it. That's why we blame other people. That's why we get angry at other people. That's why we project our shit onto other people. It all deals with shadow work. So, and shadow work is basically digging into your trauma, digging into your childhood to figure out what things in your childhood shaped you and why these behaviors are subconscious behaviors and actions and situations, and even situations outside of you that always seem to be in your life or always seem to repeat are there, and to really work through them, to really realize what's causing them and how it happened, and to really see the other side and to dig into your subconscious. So a huge way that I started doing my shadow work in the very beginning was I started in my childhood and I wrote pages about my childhood thinking that I had a great childhood. I really actually thought that. And then when I went back and I read the pages, I realized that I was under a serious delusion. My consciousness or my ego was hiding a shit ton from me. And even though while I was writing, I didn't think I was writing anything crazy, but when I actually went back and read it, I was like, whoa, no wonder, and this is where all my shit comes from. Like, I didn't even realize that. Writing about your childhood is an amazing place to start, and that is where you can really locate, because a lot of the things and patterns we do and go through in life originate in our childhood. Our childhood is like our foundation for life. That's where our brain develops. That's where we learn who we are. That's where we gather our identity and our behaviors and what we like, what we don't like. So everything is rooted in our childhood. That is our roots, okay? I mean, trauma does not always look like abuse or something crazy like that. Trauma can be your mom forgetting to pick you up at school one day, you know what I mean, or being late to pick you up at school one day. And even though you could barely remember that or not think it really had a large impact on your life, there could be a level of abandonment there, a level of feeling forgotten or misunderstood or not paid attention to. And so you may seek attention, you know, or you may do manipulative things to get attention. We all have a shadow side, so it's not for you to feel like shit about yourself. It's for you to see it, accept it, and start integrating it. Like I said, if you want to know more, you can research it, but that is basically the basics of shadow work. And that's a huge thing that I would recommend that you do around this time. So next is creation. Really thinking about the new life that you want to create from here on out. Like, yeah, maybe some of you will go back to your old jobs or whatever the case may be, but things are definitely changing. So was there anything in your life before this that basically ended or basically is no more or that wasn't aligned with who you are? So creating what you want out of this situation, which goes into my next one, which is figuring out what you love, figuring out what you're passionate about, figuring out what your purpose is. And your purpose likely has something to do with the opposite of what your childhood was like, or something that you're good at, something that you're passionate about, something that brings you true joy, okay? Because if you're on the spiritual path, if you're awakened, if you're enlightened, then you're likely not supposed to just be a robot or a zombie throughout your whole life, going to work, having the kids, and doing the same thing every single day, unless that's your thing, you know what I mean? But likely you're here to help people or you're here to do something, you know? So figure out what the hell you love. Figure out what the hell brings you joy. Figure out what starts that fire inside of you, what brings that determination to you that you cannot put to rest, that you cannot put to sleep, and go the fuck with it. So the next one is reading. I have been reading like crazy. Anything that you've been interested in or that you've been wanting to research or look into for a while now, this is the time. Read about it. Learn about it. Learn. If there's anything you've wanted to learn for a while now or that you've wanted to fall down a rabbit hole in, now is the time you can do that. So this is still under the topic of connecting your spirit to your body. So another way that you can do this through physical activity is through things like stretching. So if you're like me and your Mars is under a lot of pressure, my Mars is under a lot of pressure, my Saturn squares my Mars, they're both in their ruling signs, and then also my ascendant and my Chiron squares my Mars, and so I'm not very Marsy, okay? Basically, physical activity is not my thing. I'm a Cancer South Node as well. I just recently figured out that basically my everyday life is called quarantine because I'm basically a homebody all the time. But anyways, I'm not a physical ass bitch, so if you're anything like me, then these kind of things are going to be easy for you. But stretching is a big deal, and let me tell you why. So if you are into shadow work and soul work and working on your subconscious and all of that, our mind will put things, memories, emotions that we suppress or that we try to put in our subconscious and forget about, or that like we may not even consciously do it, like our mind just does it. It stores things in our bodies, literally. And anybody that's into energy work likely knows this, because there are people, energy workers, that will work on you and work on parts of your body where energy is stuck, and then it will come up and you'll likely remember things that you completely forgot about. So stretching is a big deal because this can release tension in your body, number one, obviously, but also energy in your body and suppressed memories, feelings, and all of that. So it's important that when you stretch, that you really connect to your body, that, you know, if you're stretching your hamstrings, for example, you go easy, like don't go too hard on yourself. Don't sit there and try to like force it to stretch. Just do a little bit at a time, and eventually it will release on its own and you'll be able to go a little farther. But talk to your muscles, get in there, you know, because your muscles are you. Your muscles are literally you. So once you realize that, it will start releasing. And so you can do a lot of work on connecting to your body through stretching. Another thing that I've been doing and loving lately that's really helped me get into physical activity and a routine is yoga. I've been trying, I guess, regular yoga. I don't know. I'll link the videos I've been watching down below, but I've been trying Kundalini yoga and I guess regular yoga for beginners because like I said, I don't know what I'm doing, but I recently just started about, I don't know, a month or two ago, and I wasn't really being consistent with it until the last month or so. And yeah, it's really helped me get into a routine, connect to my body more, and be a little bit more aware of what's going on with my body. So I will link some of the videos that I personally like to watch with yoga down below. They're super easy, and plus they even add other things you can do if there's certain positions that are harder for you. And it's literally like 20 minutes a day, and you're not doing anything anyway, so it's good. Another thing that you can do to connect your spirit to your body is dancing. So for me, I find that when I dance, sometimes I will do things that I don't even know how to do because it's like someone else is in my body, or maybe just my spirit takes over. I don't know, but dancing is another thing. And if you are more physical, working out, you know, like this is a great time to work out and all of that if you're into that. And then obviously meditation. So I've been meditating anywhere from once to twice a day lately. This is super important as well. And really just getting quiet, getting in a silent place where no one else is around, no distractions are around, and you can just spend time with you and your spirit. No music, nothing. At least once a day I would recommend this, where you meditate in just pure silence, because then you can truly get into a state. And you know, what I find is if I'm meditating and I'm going in like looking for something, like basically, I don't know, I've never been one of the people that can meditate on like a guided meditation because I feel like I'm just imagining what they're telling me to imagine or what they're saying, and I'm too focused on that, and my mind is just all over the place anyway because I'm an airhead. But basically, silent meditation has worked for me a lot easier. I've been able to connect to myself a lot more, and I just go into it like whatever the universe wants to show me or whatever my higher self wants to show me, or sometimes there's nothing at all. You know, it's not always going to be like, holy shit, I just saw my past life, or holy shit, I just fell out of my body and went somewhere. I have had some crazy experiences meditating, but they've literally always been when I wasn't expecting anything. But that's just me, may not be that way for you. So try different forms of meditation, see what works for you, because look, bitch, if you know yourself and you are totally aware of yourself and you are not scared to sit in silence, then none of this shit is going to bother you because you are okay with yourself. You are completely whole on your own. Okay, you can go get locked away in a prison and it's not going to bother you because you know how to sit with yourself. Because, you know, the 3D life distracts us from who we are. It distracts us from our spirit. It distracts us. Like, a lot of us cannot sit in silence, and I used to be this way. I could not sit with myself. Like, I always had to have a distraction, okay? And even recently I started getting like that again before all this stuff happened. And so the last few weeks I've been really forcing myself to meditate in silence once or twice a day. Plus, not only will meditation help open you up and connect you to your spirit, it will also help you be more conscious, more focused, more aware throughout the day, especially if you're working on yourself and doing things like shadow work. You will be more aware of your behaviors, of your reactions, of what's going on in your mind, okay? You will be able to kind of dismiss thoughts more and not cling to certain thoughts more, which will also shift your consciousness. Now, it may take a few weeks to meditate every day to do this. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, you're not gonna just meditate once, like, and be like, oh my God, like, I'm completely a different person. Like, yeah, you may feel a lot better and a lot more open, but in the end, it's worth it. This will help you connect to who you are more. This will help you connect to your spirit more. This will help you expand your consciousness in the long run and get to know yourself, what goes through your mind, your emotions, your habits, all of that a lot more. So another way that I do all the time throughout the day is called fourfold breathing. And if you've practiced yoga before, then you probably know about this, but for me personally, it opens me up so freaking much. Like, after I do this, my mind, my upper chakras and all my chakras, I just feel open, like, immediately. Okay, so basically what you do is you take a huge breath in. You can do it through your mouth or through your nose or both. Just play with it and see which way works for you. Taking a huge breath in and then holding it for 4 seconds, and then breathing out, and then holding it, not breathing not inhaling, just after you exhale all the way, like holding your breath for 4 seconds and then doing it again. And doing that about 4 to 5 times opens you up completely. So if you ever start feeling stressed or just anxious throughout the day, doing that breathing technique will open you the F up, okay? I promise. Sometimes you may need to do it a little bit more, you know, if you're like feeling really anxious or whatever the case may be, but it will open you up. So another thing that you can do, of something I actually just thought of, is getting yourself some plants. This is a fake plant, so not this kind of plant, but a real plant, and starting to take care of plants if you don't, okay? I recently did, and this is also very helpful. It helps you connect to nature and grounding if you can't go outside a lot for whatever reason. You can still go outside, but I know maybe some people can't all the time, or they don't have yards, or whatever the case may be. So if you live in the city, you know, and you live around a lot of other people, so getting yourself some plants, taking care of plants, that will definitely help you ground. Sitting on the floor, okay, when you meditate or when you do yoga or whatever, like that really helps you ground as well. That's why I've been sitting on the floor a lot, especially a lot of the times when I do my readings, because I feel more open and connected, and I feel like I'm able to read better when I'm on the ground versus sitting in a chair. So another thing that you can do is learn a new skill, okay? Like take a course, or if you're into spirituality and divination and all of that, learn a new divination skill. Things like tarot, runes, astrology. I do still plan on doing a beginner's astrology video to help you really start understanding your chart and the layout of your chart and how to really look and read your chart and other people's charts. So that will be coming soon. If you still want to see it, definitely let me know down below. Yeah, it would be a great time to take a new course. There's all kinds of different easy online courses. I think there's even an app, I forget what it's called, but there's even an app for like courses that are really, really cheap. So another thing that kind of goes back into the silent meditation is taking time for yourself each day with no distractions, no people, no phones, no technology, and just either doing something you love or meditating, like just really taking time to yourself. And I know that can be hard if you have kids. I have a son, so I get it. If you have to lock yourself in the bathroom just to take a bath, or lock yourself in the closet just for a little bit to focus on something, or, you know, let your kids watch a movie or play a game or whatever, this is really going to help you get back in touch with you as well. So the last thing, and this is more kind of advice rather than something to do, but when you feel inspired by something, okay, or you're feeling creative, don't put it off. Do it right then and there, because that is going to help you feel more accomplished. Because if you're anything like me, you'll get inspired or you'll get creative, you'll get this rush of creativity and you're like, oh, that's a really good idea, like, and then you write it down to do it later, and then you never end up doing it, which is why I always ask you guys if you would be interested in certain videos, and you guys are like, yeah, Tawny, and then I never end up doing them because I missed the point, you know what I mean? Like I missed the inspiration point, and then like later on I'm like always busy or not as inspired anymore. I see someone else do it, and then I'm like, nope, not doing it. Like just stupid stuff like that. So if you get inspired, act on it right away, especially if you're like off work right now and you don't have much else to do. Like do that, you know, get into your old hobbies, your old talents, things that you loved as a kid, or learn new hobbies, new talents. You may have to test some things out. You may have to play in the unknown for a little bit and figure out what you're good at, or what you really like, or what your thing is. So anyways, that is everything that I have for you guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys have any recommendations or cool ideas of things to do during this time, then leave them down below for other people to see. And I'd love to see what you guys are doing around this time anyway. And if you guys try any of these, definitely let me know down below as well. Send this to your friends. Maybe it would help them to see this video, or, you know, bring some kind of inspiration to them. Anyways, times are tough right now. It would really help me if you guys shared and liked and commented on this video. So I love you guys, and I will see you guys in my next one.